and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. This National Center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. I named this mosque after the only woman that the Quran names a chapter after, the mother of Jesus, Maryam. All human beings need to be re-educated. That is the purpose of the National Center.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to Liberated Sisters on Closing the Gap Network. This edition is entitled Disaster Preparedness. Our guest today, as you see here, the beautiful Dr. Ridgely Abdul Mumin Muhammad and his wife, Sister Ann Muhammad. They are the managers of Muhammad Farms in Georgia, and they are here to talk to us about the Nation of Islam Staple Goods Project. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Good to see you.
Likewise, good to see you both. Been a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
Very happy to bring this information to our people. You know, I had actually, and it's also about the Nation of Islam Ministry of Agriculture, pardon me. You know, thank God, Allah, for Student Minister James Muhammad, Student Minister Chad Muhammad, Sister Starla Muhammad, our Final Call newspaper managing editor. They hold down the anchor show for Closing the Gap. It is called Closing the Gap Podcast, and we have many shows that are on the network. And so myself, Liberated Sisters, and on behalf of the other shows, we thank you for making a way that we can bring this information and share it and be enlightened. So my first duty right now, I want to ask you both, Dr. Ridgely, Sister Ann, take a moment and give us your opening remarks.
Well, first of all, it is an honor and a privilege of being on the show, but it's more an honor and a privilege to be able to help the man who has his finger in the dike of destruction. We're talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's like a pleasure and it's a great responsibility that I have to do the best I can to help him in his mission. Right. And what I worry about every day is being a thorn in his mission, being a problem in his mission, not doing what I can do to make sure that his word is bond. He's the one to put the word out, and we're just trying to back him up. So we thank Allah for the opportunity and the privilege of helping the man who's on point to save the world. So with that, I open to my better half over here, maybe my better 2/3 over here.
The beautiful Sister Ann. Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I'd like to, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Oh. And I suppose my main job is to support my husband, Richard, Dr. Richard.
She means keep me in line. Go ahead.
I give him all the support that I can. And we need people who are staple goods coordinators and others to just pick up steam and go out and get all of our people involved in the staple goods project, because the day is coming when we will all be in a period of want.
That's right.
And we need to prepare our people. We don't need them out there at the last minute looking at us saying, we didn't let them know.
That's right.
We didn't give them advance notice.
That's right.
We didn't do all we could to bring them in so that they could be prepared. So we want to encourage our people to, if you hear about the Staple Goods Project, ask about it and get involved. You don't have to order lots of things. You can go in with people, pool your resources.
That's right.
This is where we practice cooperative economics,
That's right.
Telling our people to pool their resources. Go in and buy 50 pounds of beans, 25 pounds of rice, and split it. And all of you will have some. So that is what I'd like to say in my opening remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Ann. And you answered my first question, which was the importance of the Staple Goods Project, as well as how can it be driven. And so, Dr. Ridgely, with that, would you give us more detail on just how does this project work? And Sister Ann covered it, but I'll ask you to reiterate it here for those who may not have caught it. This is not just a life-saving project for card-carrying members of the Nation of Islam.
That's right. That's right. As a matter of fact, I want to give you a little background of the history of Muhammad Farm and the Ministry of Agriculture, and you'll see that the mission statement of the Ministry of Agriculture is bigger than the registered members of the Nation of Islam. So let me get started. I do better with slides than just talking off my hip.
Yes, sir. We got you covered tonight. Look at Brother Michael.
Right.
Thank you, Brother Michael.
Thank you, Brother Michael. First of all, I was brought on post to Muhammad Farms in February of 1995, 1,600 acres in Southwest Georgia. Now, 1,600 acres is 1,300 football fields, 1,300 football fields. That is over me. I can't say that I'm over it. It's over me. And at the same time, in October 16, 1995, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for 1 million men to meet with him on a Monday in Washington, D.C., and instead almost 2 million black men showed up at the Capitol. Now, what did the enemy see? He saw 2 million black men. He saw us getting back 1,600 acres of the 4,000-acre farm that we had in Georgia. What did he see? He saw a big problem, an army and a way to feed the army outside of him. Then, as I told you about the mission of the Ministry of Agriculture. In 2002, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan invited me and Sister Ann to his farm up in Michigan. And we spent 2 days talking about the Ministry of Agriculture. And he set the Ministry of Agriculture up. And here is the mission statement that we came up with, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and myself. It says, our major goal is to develop a sustainable agricultural system that will provide at least 1 meal per day, according to the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for the 40 million Black people in America. I said 40 million Black people in America. Also, this system should provide the necessary raw materials for the production of clothing and housing for the 40 million or more Black people in America. This requires the attainment, proper utilization, and conservation of the useful land, and using science and technology to make the non-useful land useful. So this is the beginning of the Ministry of Agriculture. And in 2005, Minister Farrakhan came and visited Muhammad Farms in 2005 and toured the farm. And we had some funny stories. One of these days I'll tell you about some of those funny stories that happened while he was on the farm. But it was a momentous day, and he gave us clear instructions of what we needed to do going forward. And then in 2006, Mr. Farrakhan took myself, along with a team of others, leaders of the Nation of Islam, down to Cuba to study how Cuba survived under sanctions from the United States, the failure of the Soviet Union. They almost died, but they came out of that. And when I was in Cuba, I noticed that there were no refrigerated trucks. So I had to get off the tour bus, and me and the math doctor walking around, because he knew a little Spanish, I didn't, and started looking, asking questions. And we found that all over Havana were raised bed gardens in the city for fresh vegetables. And the people would go to the corner store of the raised bed gardens and get their produce for that day. They didn't even have refrigerators. They got the fresh produce for that day, took it home and cooked it. Then we talked to the head of the cooperatives, and they, on the collective large-scale farm, they produce the staple goods. That's what we get staple goods project. The wheat, the dry beans, the rice, and the fruits of tree fruits, and the meats were done on a large scale in a cooperative manner on the big farms. Now, when you don't have chemicals, and when they went under sanction, they could not get the chemicals from America nor from Russia. So they had to go back to fight the weeds the old-fashioned way, by hand and with a hoe. But what they did is, the people who live in the cities, when their number came up, they would get on a bus with the others who own that number, and they would go to a farm out in the countryside for the weekend and pull weeds, or hoe weeds. Then they get back on the bus and go back to the city and live the rest of their life. They didn't have to live on the farm, just at the key moments. And we learned from that. And that's why every year now, we have a weed pulling festival at Muhammad Farms. This year's is May 18th, the Saturday, May 18th, and then the next Saturday, May 25th. And we'd like to thank the MUI West, who came in 2022, and they see them out there in the field pulling the weeds and the watermelons. We thank them for coming, and we thank all the people who participate in the weed pulling festival. And Sister Ann cooks a great meal for them, so we ain't gonna starve you out. But this is what we learned from the trip that we took to Cuba. We learned about in the cities, you do the raised bed gardens close to your home, and for your staples, that which could be stored and shipped long distances, like your wheat, your corn, your rice. Those things you produce on larger farms, and you bring them to the cities. So that's how we got the idea for the Staple Goods Project. Now,
this is phenomenal. As you continue, Dr. Ridgely, that's some history I didn't even know. See, as you go on, we have Brother I think it's Denzel Lovett. He's the Brother Denzel Muhammad Mosque number 45 Staple Goods Coordinator. That's in the Southwest. That's Houston.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Denzel, for coming on. you know, why should see y'all better y'all needs to be careful. Listen very carefully to what I'm going to read. June 22nd, 2023 article. USDA approves first ever cell cultivated meat for 2 American manufacturers. Now, with that cell cultivated meat, that's fake meat grown in a Peachtree dish from stem cells. Okay, these are not animals. These are things produced from one cell and grown into what they want to feed to you. After years of investment in upside foods from Bill Gates, Richard Branson, and Whole Foods founder John Mackey, they got USDA approval to sell you fake chicken that never had any wings or feet and was never really alive. Now, I got to go back up to the Whole Foods founder, John Mackey, because we got many of us who just swear by Whole Foods. But what you don't know is in 2017, John Mackey sold Whole Foods to Amazon. Now, why did Amazon buy Whole Foods? Because, see, Amazon was getting ready for the Jetsons thing. They were getting ready for the shutdown. They were getting ready for the Great Reset. They were getting ready to fly your food into your window in your 30-story apartment building from Whole Foods. Now, you think that you are buying the best from Whole Foods, but you will be buying stuff that's made even without soil. We won't get into that today, but that stuff is not real. It looks like it's real, but it does not have the vitamins that you get from the sun and from the earth.
Dr.
Yes.
You got to come back next week, please, and get into that.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay. Inshallah. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Now here's another game they played on you. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation purchased 1 million shares of BioNTech in September of 2019, just months before the pandemic was announced, at a pre-public offering price of $18.10 per share. The foundation sold 890,000 shares in the fall of 2021 at $300 per share, making a profit of $260 million off of you. Bill Gates is the largest owner of farmland in America, 242,000 acres of land. So he bought this stock before you knew the pandemic was going to happen, waited till it jumped up, sold it, took the money, and then bought a bunch of land. Why is he buying this land? Because he is going to produce fake meat and edible vaccines. So he will grow tasty morsels of poison for you. The fake meat needs proteins for it to grow. And that's what he's going to grow on that land. And then he's also going to have land growing vegetables that have vaccines, mRNA vaccines in them. Because so you don't want to take the shot. You don't want to take the shot, well, they'll put it in your mouth through the food system. So we have in the Ministry of Agriculture many small farmers and gardeners. And we have a training session, a gardening guild, that they meet every Thursday. And they talk about how to better improve their farm and their gardens. So that information, you see it on the screen, but go to noymoa.org and you'll find out more information about the Farming and Gardening Guild.
Dr. Ritchie, real quick. So
Yes.
now is that open to, wow, this is blowing my mind. Is this guild open to people
Yes.
who are novice, just starting, like have
Yes.
a yard and don't know where to
Yep.
begin? Oh,
Just
thank you.
just starting, and you will have people who different progressions in their development. So I tell you, you really, let me explain something to you.
Wow.
People think because I have a PhD in agriculture economics that I was taught how to farm. They don't teach that no more. There's only one school in America that teaches farming. One. None of the schools teach it anymore. If you're going to learn farming, you got to learn it from a farmer. If you want to learn how to farm, you got to learn from a farmer. If you want to learn how to garden, you got to learn from a gardener. And then you go into school, think you go into college, they're going to teach you how to farm. They don't do that no more.
Which one? Is it Brother
It's
Will
called-
Robbins?
It's called the Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, Georgia. That's the only college in America that actually teaches farming. The rest of them train you how to go and get a job with the U.S. Department of Agriculture or Monsanto or other industries. They do not teach you how to farm. I had to learn this on my own because I didn't have anyone to show me. Okay? I didn't learn that in school. I learned more on Muhammad farms than all that they try to teach me in school. I had to unlearn that stuff. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you. And thank you, Sister Ann. Wow.
Okay. Now, when we got into farming on Muhammad farms, the first year we sold, second year we sold a lot of wheat. We had 200 acres. We sold it at $4.23. $4.23 a bushel. That's 56 pounds. That's a bushel. But in 3 years, the government had dropped the price of wheat from $4 down to $2. It wasn't worth harvesting the wheat. So we had to turn the wheat into flour. And thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who procured for us a flour mill in 2010. And now we have 2 flour mills. So now we take our wheat that we grow on Muhammad farms and we turn it into flour. And that's what we ship in the Staple Goods Project. We got whole wheat flour. We got Sister Ann's muffin mix. We have even cream of whole wheat. Not cream of wheat, cream of whole wheat. What's in the cream of whole wheat? Wheat. That's all it is, but especially how we mill it. And of course, Sister Ann's cream of whole wheat muffin mix, we call that the joint, okay? Because it comes out right every time. It's easy, quick, comes out. So what's this?
Yeah, I'm bearing witness. My daughter swept through all of mine.
It's the joint. That muffin mix right there. Forget Aunt Jemima, forget Uncle Ben, forget what's the white folks' name? I don't even know the white folks' name. Forget all of that.
Everybody, anybody.
Sister Ann's Kitchen, the cream of whole wheat muffin mix. Now, in 2011, we started preparing for a day of want. So we set the Staple Goods Project in 2011. And our first Staple Goods project number 1, went to 23 cities. We only had five items. We had bath tissue, brown rice, navy beans, red beans, and sifted whole wheat flour and sugar, raw sugar. These were the staples that were preparing the people for a day of want so they can store in their homes. So this, when the stuff got bad out there, then they can stay inside their homes and be comfortable for a while until the blew over. Little did we know that in 2020, the spring of 2020, under COVID-19 fake pandemic lockdowns, they were scaring our people to death. I mean, scaring our people to death. Scaring the people that there was no more food on the shelf, no more toilet paper on the shelves. Scaring our people so that they would take death. And what is that death? They're preparing for them death in a needle, called the vaccines. Okay? So in the spring of 2020, we shipped out on the Staple Goods number 18B. We do 2 staple goods per year on average. 60 cities, we sent 4 tractor trailer loads of navy beans, 149,000 pounds, all across the country. Now, what that did, that showed the enemy that our people were going to be able to be fed by Muhammad. And what that did was force them to open up these storage houses and give the preachers food to give to the congregation, to give to the people, because the people will come to Muhammad because we was rolling at that time. And that same year, the Minister Farrakhan, in that July 4th, 2020, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan warned the world. He said, quote, in the criteria, I say to my brothers and sisters in Africa, if they come at you with a vaccine, be careful. Don't let them vaccinate you with their history of treachery through vaccines, through medication. And the U.S. government said, what that nigga do on that nag? Like in Django? So what did they do? They censored, deplatformed Minister Farrakhan from all his social media accounts because he was messing up their game, which was to force our people into taking these deadly shots and under the cover that it's a vaccine to prevent them from getting sick, but actually it was the thing to get them sick and to kill a whole lot of people. So in Staple Goods 19, in the same year now, remember, we just did 4 tractor trailer loads of navy beans, but we did 74,000 more pounds of navy beans. 10,000 pounds of red beans, 10,000 pounds of black beans, 21,000 pounds of brown lentils, 12,000 pounds of red lentils, 24,000 pounds of brown rice, 26,000 pounds of sugar. Then from Muhammad Farms, we had 25,000 pounds of sifted flour, 626 cases at 40 pounds per case. We had 6,000 pounds of pastry flour, 10,000 pounds of cream of wheat, and almost 4,000 pounds of Sister Ann's muffin mix. Then we had 9,000, almost 10,000 pounds of honey. We had 1,000 pounds of salt. We had now Sister Majida and her daughter, they have a variety pack and a season all pack of herbs that they put together for seasoning. These are your believers. Then we had Exodus coffee at that time. Then we had applesauce by another black vendor. And we had bean soup, dried bean soup by our brother Gerald in Mississippi that lasts for 25 years in that pouch. So this is definitely for your survival. Then we had our sister who produced soap. Now, this next line over here, seeds. I want to explain to you this next line. You see that circle there? We shipped out 437 packages of seeds. We're not talking about just 437 packages of one item. Each of the packages had in it 14 different varieties of vegetables. 14 different varieties of vegetables, and it was enough seed in each pack for each vegetable for 50 feet. So 50 times 14 is 700 feet. In other words, we gave them enough seeds to plant a line 2.3 football fields long. Okay, of course, you want to plant all the lines. You do, your raised beds next to each other. But that's what each. So what we did was really produce the seeds for 437 gardens and small farms. 437 gardens and small farms received seeds from Muhammad Farms so they could get going and to prepare their home to be able to be a food shelter for themselves and for their community. So what's the Ministry of Agriculture doing? We are all across the country setting up small farms and gardens.
That is so phenomenal. Feeding people already, and then with the seeds, we see right here, I saw your flyer on how you could support. Was that the 3-year economic program, or that was going ahead of you? Yes. I don't want to go ahead of you.
No, you can support us with the 3-year economic savings program. And you go to NOI.moa.org to learn more about the Stable Goods Project, and you can contact Dr. Ridgely. I don't know who Ridley is. Email that ridgelymookmean at gmail.com. But go to NOI.moa.org and you can find out more about the Stable Goods Project, the Ministry of Agriculture, and how you can donate money to help us to continue. And September 17th, September 17th will begin the process by which you can order your commodities, your food, real food from the Stable Goods Project. And we emphasize, this is not just for registered members of the Nation of Islam. Right. This is for all Black people in America and white people too. If they want to purchase from us, we'll sell to them too. I ran into some people in the airport, and they way out in Colorado, and they said they go order some Stable Goods from Stable, and they know who I am, the Nation of Islam. They know we're the Nation of Islam. So we are not prejudiced. We're not going to hold back anybody who want to save their life. We're going to help them all. But we want you all to come first now. Don't y'all wait now. We put you in the front of the line. This ain't the shot now. We put y'all in front of the line. But if the white folks coming, hey, you know what I mean?
You say this ain't the shot.
You know what I mean?
Got to get it first.
That's what phenomenal. That's what at the end of the little presentation, and any questions that you may have. Sister Ann, you want to add anything?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Well, look, this presentation, everyone, please spread the word about this. Reshare the show. I stand so educated right now. I had no idea that it was open to all, even though we do see that you're a public site. The website is public, and that's an indication of it. But for what you just said is really an eye opener, Dr. Ridgely, and everyone, please put your questions there. Someone says, "Great work, Doc." To be able to take this to our family, our friends, our neighbors, it helps, because I can speak for myself as one who knows that we should be prepared. And also we have been given a divine instruction to give the word to our family first, and then to our friends. Of course, that's our neighbors as well. I would always think where to start. What do
Well,
you have?
When we came out of slavery,
Mm,
they cast us to the wilderness. The Plessy versus Ferguson was not just about, in 1896, was not just about you not being able to drink at a water fountain. It was about you not able to buy anything from them. You not being able to go to a hospital. Okay? It was about, they thought that they would throw us out in the woods and we would die. They thought we would die out in 2 generations after 1896. They thought in 2 generations we would die out. But what did we do? We went to the woods and we built Wakanda in the woods. And the white folks didn't know about it because what? They didn't come to visit us and we didn't come to visit them. Okay? We were separated from them completely. And in the woods, we decided to live. And we did. And by 1910, we had 16 million acres of land. We had 8 medical schools. By 1923, we had 200 hospitals. So we had learned to survive and to thrive. And then they tricked us with integration. The biggest trick was integration. Where they started off by burning us out with the KKK. They burned us out, ran us to the cities. But then in the cities, we still began to develop an economy. We used to buy from one another. When I was a young boy and living in the projects, we did not close our doors at night. We kept open in the summertime for the air. So we didn't have no air conditioning. We didn't worry about no drugs and no killings and no drive-bys. All of this was purposeful, done to us, a war tactic to terrorize us and to make us hate ourselves. And they lied to us to make us think that we are still suffering from slavery, when in fact we're suffering because you keep messing with us. Every time we figure out how to do something, here you come messing with us, and then you lie to the people, say that we never did nothing. Even Black Wall Street, you burned it down in 1921, but you didn't tell us about it, that we rebuilt it. Black folks rebuilt it in 1926, bigger and better than it ever was. And then you got rid of it in 1971 legally by running a highway, eminent domain, right through Greenwood. And you did this in 90 other cities, right through the middle of the heart of the Black community in the commercial zone. I saw you doing this in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, when I was a little boy. I didn't know what you was doing until later on when I studied what you was doing. You were destroying my community, talking like a super highway, a 4-lane highway. It took the people straight to the malls, away from their stores. So now we're trying to reinstitute that, because we hope, you saw those 84 cities. Well, our mission is to have a cooperatively owned, full-scale grocery store in each of those 84 cities. Okay? I know I'm letting it out to the enemy, but the enemy already know, he already know. The enemy trying to hide it. He know what we're trying to do.
You already know.
He already know, you know what I mean? But yeah, we're going to have 84 cooperatively owned, full-scale grocery stores, all under our umbrella. We go do this.
Oh, wow. Dr. Ritchie, let me say at this moment, Brother Doctor, I believe, Malik Yakini, but I'll get his name and I'll put it right in the chat. I'm looking at, most recently, they're getting ready to open the Detroit People's Co-op. And I will put that link right there, but you made me think about that. But continue on. This is just beautiful.
I know the brother very well.
That's right.
He works with our sister Majida in Detroit. He's been working on this for a number of years, and we thank Allah that he's getting ready to pull it off, because we are going to do this, y'all. See, a lot of people now, they want to get into farming because they think they're going to make a lot of money. It's a lot of work in farming, okay? First, you got to think about, well, I'm going to do this to survive, and then also you got to have another skill. See, we were able to survive because most of our men had more than one skill. They had more than one job. they had a farm, but then they also were carpenters, or they fixed automobiles, okay, or they did electrical work. In other words, we got to get some skills so that we can trade amongst one another, so that we can trade our services amongst one another. And then we got to think, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that we should train our children to study what our people need and what our people want, and then help them to discover how they can actually produce that product or that service for our people. This is why you see in the Staple Goods Project, we have 10 products. There's 12 now. Back in 2020, it was 10. But it's 12 products that are produced by members of the Nation of Islam. And we're offering the opportunity through the Staple Goods Project to test, market your product and to see if it can fit in so we can ship your product around the country and also in the islands as well. We are not just talking a talk. This is 12 years that we have walked the walk. And so we are ready now to come out from the hiding. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when a plant, before it comes up, shoot up out the ground, it develops the root system. We have had 12 years of developing a root and having a set of peoples in terms of the Ministry of Agriculture and our coordinators who trust one another. See, you don't really know nobody until you start putting money in their hand. You don't really know nobody until you give people assignments and to see whether they're going to do it or not. And we have proved that our people in the Ministry of Agriculture are hardworking, fast thinking, right up to the modern times. And we have worked together collectively to do what we've done. This is not Dr. Richard and Sister. As a matter of fact, I'm the vice president of the Staple Goods Project. She's the president. I'm the gopher man, okay? I'm the gopher man, okay? And so, we have learned, we have a brotherhood or sisterhood in the Ministry of Agriculture. I mean, we have our conference call meetings every Tuesday. We've been doing this for years. We didn't know how long we've been doing it. Maybe like, 15, 16 years? Huh? At least, right? At least. Wow. Every Tuesday night. And through that, we have learned one another. And this is what the ministries can bring to the nation. That's right. We have a Ministry of Agriculture, but we need a Ministry of Trade and Commerce. We need a Ministry of Art. We need a Ministry of Science. We need all of these ministries, education. Now, in that ministry, you can find your purpose. Me, I found my wife. Or she found me. I don't know what. But because we started working together in the Ministry of Agriculture. And then I decided, I know people they're going to start, they stay together, they be together all the time. Man. So I said, I'm going to marry this sister right now. I'm going to shut that all down. You got in the front. That was the most intelligent, most intelligent move I ever made was join the Nation of Islam. That was number one. The second most intelligent thing was marrying her. Okay, that was the second one. Okay, so when you find your soulmate, I think Reverend Bevels said that marriage should be an institution. You should be trying to build an institution together. You have to be on the same page. You can't want people run over here and another person run over here. You got to work together as a team. And back in after slavery, we went and found our wives who we could not marry. That's right. In slavery, we found our children, and we began to build institutions around the family. We needed each other, but the enemy has put himself between us and the universe. Mr. Farrakhan said he is now the memory land of the universe. We got to go through the white man to get to the universe. Okay, come on. We got to go back to directly from us to the universe, to the land, to the people. Production and the consumption and production have been divided up. The trader has got between the producer and the consumer. In the olden times, people who were producers were also consumers. And then twice a week, we would come to the marketplace. We bring our goods, and the other people bring their goods. And at the end of the day, you go home with a bunch of other people's goods because you sold your goods and you trade. That's how it happened. But here comes the trader. The trader made an interpretation. The trader said, okay, look, Why you work so hard? You make nice shoes and sandals. You make nice food. You should just do that. And what I do is I'll pay you, some money for the product, and then I'll take it to the market and sell it for you. And that's how the Jew got in between the producer and the consumer. So now the producer and consumer are separated, and he's cheating them on both sides. That's why we got to get back to trading with one another. But you can't trade if you ain't producing nothing. If you ain't got nothing to trade, how can you have trade and commerce? One thing I remember about our dear sister, Dr. Minister Ava Muhammad. She said she was the head of the Southern region, the minister of the Southern region. She said that each study group, each mosque needs to develop a product and then trade that product with the other mosques and study groups and develop a trade in commerce. Really have a separate nation within a nation. And what she's talking about is what the enemy was so afraid of, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing in the late 50s and the early 60s, because he was tying together those segregated communities into a separate state within America. Well, we do trade and commerce with one another. We wouldn't need a white man. I know I was born in a black hospital. We had a black safe bus company. We had our own cabs company. We had our own restaurants. We had our own hotels. And when the enemy saw that the Nation of Islam, through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was going to unite those segregated communities and tie those commercial and economic things together to produce a nation within a nation, that's when he said, y'all can come on in. Y'all, we're going to have integration. Y'all can vote. Matter of fact, you can have my white women. This is when they pushed that on us, along with some of our Uncle Tom's, talented Tiff, people who they felt so insecure about not being around white folks. They thought being around white folks was a proof of who they were, and therefore then they made everybody want to be around white folks. Everybody did not want to be around white folks. All right, you forced that on us, and now look at the mess that you have in your country. All we're saying to white people is, we don't want to do nothing to you. We just want to leave you. Y'all have fun now. You can't dance, you can't jump. Y'all have fun now. But we want to be off to ourselves so we can live our way of life. We'll do some trade and commerce with you, no problem. But look, you owe some money. You owe some back pay. You call it reparations. We call it back pay. Now, I'm going to say one thing before I leave out on this.
Okay. Go ahead.
When we came out of slavery, they set up the Freedmen's Bank. Now, many people think that the Freedmen's Bank was something that was set up by black folks, and what's his name? Frederick Douglass lost all the money. No, it was set up by white folks, putting black folks up front, and the white folks had us to put all our money into that bank. In particular, money was from the soldiers who fought on the north side. They paid them, and they put their money in that bank. And then they told us that they're going to invest that money in government securities. They didn't. They invested that money in the railroad. Two white boys, the Cook brothers out of New York, stole our money, building railroads. And then when the railroad bust, when the bubble burst, then we found out that we didn't have no money. And then they brought in Frederick Douglass after they didn't have no money, and then put him in charge. And he brought $10,000 of his own money, trying to save the Freedmen's Bank. That he didn't know there was that condition when they made him president. And they stole our money, okay? And they scared black folks from putting money in black banks. But by 1906, we had 12 black banks, and they set up a national Negro banking league. And when they did that, that's when the so-called Jews decided to take away the money from the American white man and put it in the Federal Reserve, which is a central bank controlled by international bankers, not the United States government, because they saw that black people were learning how to handle money. We were trading with one another. We was loaning money to one another, because in the Freedmen's Bank, even though we put our money in that bank, the Freedmen's Bank never loaned $1 to another black person. Never loaned money to people who had money in the Freedmen's Bank. You can put your money in the Freedmen's Bank, you can take your money out, but they never gave us a loan. so that we can start economic development and build homes for ourselves. But we did it anyhow. But when they found out what we was doing, they came in there with their hoods and they even hid the horses, because we know they used to come amongst us to trade amongst us, and we would know them by their horses. Oh, that's that same cracker that came in here and sell us these goods over here. Now he come here with a gun, burning my damn house down. Okay, that's the reality of what they did. But Master Farad Muhammad, he heard our cry. He heard our cry. He said, I'm going to go and get them. I'm going to bring them back to their own. And out of them, I'm going to make a nation of gods that will never deviate. So we thank Allah for the coming of Master Farad Muhammad. We thank Allah for his father who made him and trained him and sent him over here to get us because of how we were being so mistreated, but because of that light of spark of being free, that God nature was in us, that he sent his son, Master Farad Muhammad, to find his uncle, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the brother of his father, a God in the mud, but still needed to be saved, wanted to be saved, and was going to save themselves regardless. But we thank Allah. And this time, this ain't 1921, baby. We got a wheel. We got some wheels. You can't deal. So let's talk. You know, this new civil rights movement started in Montgomery, Alabama. Y'all know that? 8/5/23. New civil rights movement is this. You hit me, I knock the crap out of you. Then we sit down and we negotiate or two. You don't like me, I don't like you. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to separate from you. Okay? So that's a new movement now. We're ready now. We're coming, we can get our roots down now. We're ready to separate. We're ready to go for self. We're ready to work together, make things happen. All praise is due to Allah. Any more questions?
Dr. Rizzi, all praise is due to Allah. You know, you gave me so much food for thought. When you start talking about Montgomery, I'm not sure where you're going with it. And I think I'll take this as a good opportunity right now to say that, God willing, inshallah, next week, Liberated Sisters, the Justice Report edition, will feature Sister Nisa Islam Muhammad, our staff writer for the Final Call newspaper, as well as Brother Eric Toure Muhammad, contributing writer for the Final Call newspaper. And they're going to talk about their articles. She's going to speak about the Final Call article on Montgomery, the brawl. And Brother Eric is going to talk about these unjustified, let me find that. There's something going on in the Fulton County Jail, and it's unexplained debts and unstable conditions, among other things, that's causing a spike in debts there. And so they're going to be here, God willing, next Thursday to talk about that. And actually, I think it's going to be next Tuesday. Pardon me, because we're every other Tuesday. So we're going to come back with some closing remarks for you and Dr. Ann. I call her Dr. Ann, and it's right there.
She's the doctor in the house.
That's right. And I think I'm going to have a final question for you, Sister Ann, to talk about when we come back from these announcements, the role of women, you know, just your role right there side by side with Dr. Ridgely. And I'm saying that because I think of the movie, The Piano Lesson, with Charles Dutton. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but they sing a song in that production, and it's talking about forming. And the singer is saying, he tells his daughter to marry, not to marry a forming man, because every day is forming. And so anyway, I think I'll play that next time we come back to speak. Hopefully, I said come back next week. We will do next week. We'll do a special hour to add to what we're talking about. But I want you to speak to that when we return, Sister Ann, just in terms of the love of what you do and how that's cultivated, and why it is so important for us as sisters, as well as what you've both already shared, to be involved in this type of work. Very critical. So right now, what we'll do is we'll have a commercial break. This is regarding Sajda House, and this project, Sajda House, is spearheaded by our beautiful sister, Sajda Wendy Muhammad. And when you support this project, you will receive the Elijah coin. Now, this is the renovation and restoration of the home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the original home, the former home, which is in Chicago on Woodlawn. And this is being made into the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. So your purchase helps to complete with the construction. It helps with the equipment and other costs to bring back this historic home, to bring it back to life. This is as a tribute, you all, to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And again, with the Elijah coin in your hand, you will own a piece of this historic project. So let's take a look at some of the beautiful commercials, some of the promotions that Sister Sajda Wendy Muhammad and her team have put together.
I have told you, first part of my life, I was a farmer in Georgia. Yes, sir. Right? Yes, sir. Nobody there was looking at me flying and you thought that I would ever be a scientist teaching the world. Yes, sir. See, it is time that brings something. I have told you, first part of my life, I was a farmer in Georgia. Yes, sir. Right? Yes, sir. Nobody there was looking at me flying and you thought that I would ever be a scientist, which it was. I have told you, first part of my life,
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that history develops the springs and motives of human action, which display themselves most powerfully in the destiny of man. History actually motivates and stimulates human action. Sometimes you may not know what to expect from yourself. But if you only could read the autobiography of someone from among your people who has achieved, then that tells you what's possible to do. Black people in America have labored without understanding the realm of possibility for Black people. And because we don't know what is possible for us as a people to achieve, we labor under the misconception that the accomplishments of Caucasian people should be our guide. And as a result, we keep on trying to be like them rather than trying to be ourselves. This is a result of being robbed of history.
Sajda House. For more information, visit sajdahouse.com. I also put a link there in the chat where you can order your Elijah coin and be a part of this historic project, this divine project. And also there are sponsorships that are available. More information, you can also email sajdahouse@gmail.com. Dr. Risley, I wanted to mention that when you were speaking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all that he's given in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan earlier, but you were on such a roll. I did not want to stop you. But let's have your closing remarks, and then I'll have another announcement before we go.
Well, I think Sister Ann, she has something she wants to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right, Sister Ann. The
What's it like sticking by her husband?
Thank you, Dr. Ridgely. That's the most important question right there.
Well, it has not been all roses. There have been times when we've had to consider what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, and just sit back, take time, and go over what it is that the farm needs and wants. I've been there, I guess now,
24 years.
24, almost 25 years.
Yeah, 24 years.
And we've had just a myriad of experiences, highs and lows, but mostly highs. We've been there alone, just the two of us, doing the work. We get we get other workers who were able to come and help us out for a while. I remember a young sister that I met through another organization we were working with. And through all this, we found time to get off the farm at times and work in different organizations. And one of the things I want to say right here is that those who want to put a product in the staple goods organization, in the staple goods lineup, you need to make sure that that product can stand alone. It needs to have something that puts it above everything else that's like it and bring it to the staple goods.
That's right.
We've had lots of cookies and all kinds of things that people think they're good. But there's nothing that says this stands apart from all others, and it needs to be in the staple goods lineup. But getting back to what I've contributed and what Dr. Risley has contributed, I'm there mainly as a support person for him. I always had farming. I guess you can say it's been in my blood. My father, when he was alive and when I was a little girl, we always had a garden in our yard. And I can remember getting out of school, eating dinner, doing homework. Then my dad say, "Oh, it's time for us to go out and pull some weeds."
Festival.
And I hated it. I hated it then. But I've grown to love it. I've grown to love the farm and everything about it. And I'm there to assist him and bring ideas and be there as a sounding board.
Okay, that's that sounding board thing. Let me tell you the purpose of a woman, of a wife, the second self. She go second guess everything I say or do. She goes second guess it. Why you doing that? Why you doing like that? Are you sure that's going to work? That sounds good, but is it going to work? I mean, it's they're the first ones that check you. You know what I mean? Before you go off on the deep end, they check you. And I thank Allah for having a wife like that who has she's smart. She is very, very smart. And so I listen to her. She thinks I should listen more. I do listen, but then I'm hard-headed, and I got to take the thing through. Then I come at your point of view after I try my point of view, because now I'm not going to tell you that your point of view is correct. I'm going to say, like, I figured it out in the first place. But anyhow, still, that's the beauty of the male-female, the male-female relationship, is that look, she has to make sure that the children eat. You know, men have these big ideas. But then the question, is it going to work? Because, life depends on this, all right? This is not some game, man. So this is why your wife should be there, a person who will not only back you up, but check you out and slow your roll and make you consider all the other facets that you need to consider. And it's very important, like she said, like her muffin mix. Her muffin mix, it is the best. So it's not just a muffin mix. It is the best muffin mix, okay? So we got to have something that, look, you know how it is. The white man's ice is cold. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're going to sell some ice, you better have some cold ice. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to think and produce a quality product that will stand alone against any product. Our cream of whole wheat is so good. Somebody called Sister Ann up talking about, what y'all doing? Cream of wheat. That was no, cream of whole wheat. Would you look on the label of your cream of wheat, please, and tell me what's all that stuff over there? All we got in ours is cream of whole wheat. Ain't nothing in there but wheat. So don't try to make us change our wording so we can't call it. No, it's not cream of wheat. It's cream of whole wheat.
That's
Okay?
right.
So this is we have to be able to stand up for our product, stand up for ourselves, and say, look, you're not buying this just because I'm black. You buying this because I'm a God that produced a hell of a damn product. That's why you buying this.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we gotta be.
That's right. It tops everything.
That's
Oh,
right.
yes, ma'am, sister. Dr. Richard, that's powerful. Both of you. Sister Ann, you were going to say something too?
Oh no.
I thought I heard you coming in. This look, okay, so inshallah, and we'll talk,
Okay.
after the show and just confirm everyone.
Okay.
We just have this 1 hour for you. We will come back with them. There's some points that we would like Dr. Ridgely to touch back on.
Okay.
And I bear witness by all of it. And I stand right here and testify that yes, that muffin mix is so phenomenal. It is the best. And so you heard how we can get products there. The information is there. Please share the show. This is life saving. I want to say before we go, a big shout out and a thank you to all of the coordinators for the Staple Goods Project across the country. And I want to give a special shout out because I'm at Los Angeles, March 27 for the Western region, Brother Kevin Muhammad, but all of you. Put your information there in the chat and how people can reach out. But we also have the main page. It's NOIMOA.org.
That's right. And when you can find the coordinator on the coordinators page, the coordinator that is nearest to you. And you can start communicating with that coordinator to get yourself ready for the next Staple Goods to start September 17th.
September 17th. Thank you. We can't keep the mix out of Universal Photography and Studio LLC. We can't keep the mix out of our house. So there's a lot of comments that were there for you all in the chat. Dr. Ridgely, Sister Ann, thank you so much. Thank you to the Nation of Islam Ministry of Agriculture. Thank you, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, for bringing back the nation, for rebuilding the nation. Thank you, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. Oh my God, let me not even start that, okay? Thank you so much, because I will leave out people, but these right here, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we thank you so much. And Dr. Ridgely, thank you for lifting up the name of our Savior, Master Father Muhammad, who came to get us. And so I felt that when you were speaking. I also want to go before we go, a call for donations, please, to support the Closing the Gap. The Closing the Gap. I'm really excited to go back and study what you gave us. But we need your support here on Closing the Gap Broadcast Network. On behalf of Student Minister James and the entire network, I would like to say that the information, we could put it short. I think Brother is showing it right now. We do have a call for support, and we will also have very momentarily soon a way that you can advertise on the network. But our brother Student Minister James began this by reading the Final Call newspaper during the pandemic, or the plandemic, as many have referred to it. But at that time when the world was shut down, so were our mosques, right? Obeying the law of the land. And brother kept feeding us. And also, while we're on that, Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad, National Assistant to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, week after week coming before us to a near empty house with just except for the broadcast team, and kept the word of Allah coming to us. So thank you so much, Brother Student Minister Ishmael. So support Closing the Gap Network. And thank you, Brother Michael Muhammad, our producer for today. And look, Dr. Ridgely, Sister Ann, I know I'm in the closing remarks, but Dr. Ridgely, you take the last word should you and Sister Ann want it for now.
Well, again, thank you for thanking me for bringing up the name of Master Father Muhammad, because the love that he and his father have shown us, and then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has shown us, and Minister Farrakhan has shown us, makes me love Black folks, because they love Black folks and love me so much.
That's right. That's right. Well, with that, I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying, if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.
Walaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll
fight for my brothers. We could go to war. Fighting for my father, I will give my life for. I feel so alone in this white man's world. Whip it in the kitchen, watch that white turn pearl. Standing on the corner, standing on my phone. Standing with my gangsters, but I'm standing on my own. If you let to be his own, split you like you need alone. Sacrifice my life, understanding each his own. Toast to the keys of success. Bel Air rose on my breath. I've been a student since 03. And we can fight till we see peace.
I fight like that. 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 I fight like that.
Let me holler at you for a minute, give you game. Real scrappy, love the bottom, Buddha.